Good morning, everybody. This is Kevin. Welcome to week number 6 of HRD 631. In this week, we cover 2 chapters which we'll be reading about and learning about 2 very important aspects of adult learning and adult learning theory. The first one being transformational learning, which is a learning theory that was basically started by Jack Mezirow in 1978. And the other is experiential learning theory, which, as the title says, we learn from experience. So I'll get into a little bit of the information on these learning theories, but in the meantime, I'm going to just quickly go through what it is that you are to do this week. So as you can see, I'm in Blackboard over here. I got the information. We're in week number 6. We have an overview, transformational learning theory, and experiential learning theory. These are chapters 6 and 7. Have 3 optional articles I'd like you to either read or not. It's really up to you. I'd recommend that you take a look at them, scan them, because with all of the materials in these couple of weeks, this is important information in understanding some of the what I view as transitions that adults go through and how they learn through those transitions. We'll get into adult development theory a little later on in the course, but these are the optional articles. We have 1 discussion post. There's 3 questions in there. Due tomorrow, which is October 4th, the exploration project question, just the question, and then upcoming we have on the 18th, which is 2 weeks from now, the LRP paper. So what do we have? First of all is an overview. This is a Word document. You can click on that, download it, and you'll see exactly what it is you are to do this week. And it will give you an advanced organizer for week number 7. So those of you that are looking to get ahead, it's all in here. Week number 6, we have a PowerPoint presentation on these 2 important topics. I said it last week. I had some problems in recording, but this week I will. By Monday, by the end of day Monday, I will record the PowerPoint presentation. Right now it's just the shell. It is the PowerPoint without me talking over it. So I encourage you to take a look at that. On Monday I'll change the format of this and it will be a recorded PowerPoint presentation. In here we have electronic reserve materials. There's 3 of them. The discussion questions, there's basically 3 parts. Pick one of them and that will be fine. Couple of videos that I just added. One is on transformative learning theory, and the other is a TED Talk on experiential education. So it kind of gets at the impact of this type of learning in an educational setting. The discussion post, week 6 discussions. Here are the questions, and I ask that you choose one of 3. If you really want to, you can answer all 3 of them, but I don't want you to spend a lot of time on this. 100 to 200 words is fine. If you need to go beyond that, that is fine. So that is really week number 6 in a nutshell. I'm going to take just a couple of moments to highlight a few things that are foundational to our understanding of chapters 6 and 7. As you can see from the screen, this is week number 6. This is the PowerPoint presentation that I have online. The one in Brightspace is a little different format, but the slides are identical. So a common theme in this week is the work that was done by Maslow. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm not going to go into the theory behind Maslow's work because probably most of this class has been through it. But this and the ideas that we talk about this week, they really tie in with transformational psychology, and consequently that turns into transformational learning. At the root of it, if you remember your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the basic level, we have the psychological needs, which is really what are the basic things we need for life. and at the top is self-actualization. I heard an expert talk about Maslow's work and said, well, nobody's sure if you ever get to self-actualization, but in theory, it's a good idea. Now, experiential learning and transformational learning tie directly into Maslow's work. So where does transformational learning start from? Well, it started by Jack Mezirow, and there is all kinds of information. He actually took work that was done by Montessori and Jean Piaget about early childhood development and expanded it. So at the root of his work is this thing called transformation and/or transformational learning. Dig down, he has 10 steps that are important, or 10 steps of transformational learning. The first step is this thing called a disorienting dilemma. So in Mezirow's 10 phases or 10 steps, the first step is a disorienting dilemma. In this category, this is not a comprehensive list, but it could be a loss of a job, divorce, marriage, loss of marriage, back to school. I would say COVID could be in this, moving to a new culture, moving to a new place in the world. I'm not quiet about this aspect of my life, but in my mid-30s, I stopped drinking, and that was a major disorienting dilemma for me. I'd lost a job, things were kind of falling down around me in my life, and that started a pretty dramatic transformation in me, but it all started with this, a disorienting dilemma. So what does that mean? Excuse me. So we have this dilemma. Something happens to us. We don't know how to move forward with it because it's so profound. So what do? We start examining. We have all these feelings. We take a critical assessment, and I'm going to come right down to the bottom, a reintegration into one's life on a new term. So when I talk about Mezirow's transformational learning, and I talk about a change in worldview, I'm not just talking about a minor tweak. I'm talking about a real fundamental change that starts with something that you just really have a hard time understanding or making any sense of it. You go through the 10 phases, and there's kind of a new reality for you. So expanding on my ideas of profound learning, put up a screen here, and this is in the PowerPoint, but down here, transformational learning is thought of as a type of learning that induces more far-reaching change in the learner than other kinds of learning, including a change in a personal or a person's worldview. So once again, it is not just a tweak of your attitude, it is really a fundamental shift in your person, some fundamental change that occurs as the result of a disorienting dilemma. Now, I've had over the years people say or ask me in question, does it have to be disorienting? Does it have to be a negative event? I don't have a firm answer for that, but usually it starts with some kind of event that rocks your world. So the impact on the learners. So there's tremendous impact, and often described as profound, significant, life-changing. Transformational learning could be considered as a primary component of transpersonal psychology. These two are really closely aligned. So why do we even study it? Educators' role in this. Well, is it your job as an educator of adults to kind of instigate this type of profound learning in a student? In effect, can you push somebody over the edge of the cliff so they see the truth? I don't think so. But there are ways that educators can help somebody move through this type of deep, profound learning. And at the root of it is having a safe and supportive system around. If you can be there to support somebody that's going through it, then that probably is the best role for an educator. You can use reflective practices. One of the questions in our discussion post is really, what is the role of an educator with this type of learning? Should they be the ones that instigate it, or should they be more supportive in their approach to somebody that's dealing with this type of learning? And some of you may have friends that have gone through really deep changes, something like a divorce, loss of a job. Generally, our role is to support the student or the adult as they're going through it. And I'd like to hear your comments as we move forward with the discussion post this week. So in the final segment of the video, I just want to talk about experiential learning cycle. Now, this cycle that you're seeing on the screen is from David Kolb. He's a researcher that came up with his own theory about how adults learn, and it's really it's called Kolb's experiential learning theory. And I'll just quickly go through what it means to be part of this cycle. Let's start up at the top. The first thing is something happens. Just say I'm driving a car somewhere and I get pulled over by the police. I was doing 95 in a 45 mile an hour thing. So the concrete experience was I was speeding, I was pulled over. The reflection or the reflective observation of that, reflecting on the experience. Okay, so the experience is I'm driving 95 on the highway. Reflective observation, I'm taking a look at it. What happened? I got pulled over by the police. The learning experience could be, abstractly, maybe what I should have done differently. Well, maybe I shouldn't have been doing 92 in a 45. And then the active experimentation or active experiment portion of the cycle is that the next time I'm driving at 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. So something happens, we reflect on it, we start thinking of possibilities down here, abstract ideas, and then we start experimenting or actually doing. And this cycle continues on and on. Now we're going to study learning styles in a few weeks. Learning styles is really Kolb's experiential learning cycle and learning styles. They're all tied in together. So I'm going to stop right here because this will be studied in more detail later on in the course. So that's enough for me right at this moment. If you have any questions throughout the week, please let me know. I'm here to help, and I hope you enjoy this material this week. We'll see everybody online.